Bushido, or the Way of the Warrior, was a school of thought that has heavily influenced Japanese culture, society, and politics. The overarching ideal of Bushido is a fierce martial spirit and strength, as well as an unyielding fearlessness towards the enemy in battle. Those two persisting ideals were developed during the Kamakura period, even before the term Bushido was coined to define the code of the samurai. The samurai are often held up as the paradigm of manliness. The combination of honor, loyalty, elevated social status, and awe-inspiring fighting skills has made historical samurai into legendary figures who have become deified by popular culture, for good reason. The way of the samurai is death, and the bravery with which samurai face inevitable loss of life is worthy of adoration and emulation. The samurai we encounter in Japanese history, though, are all overwhelmingly male. This brings up the question, where were the women? What role did women play in shaping Japanese history through Bushido? There are many powerful, influential women in Japanese history, some of whom shaped Bushido, others who were shaped by Bushido. Empress Jingu is a semi-legendary Japanese ruler who is said to have begun her conquest of Korea in 200 CE. She is semi-legendary because there is not much evidence to back up her existence. That being said, she is the person credited with establishing Japanese hegemony over Korea, which she accomplished bloodlessly after her husband died. According to legend, Empress Jingu was pregnant when she began her conquest of Korea. To stop herself from giving birth, she placed a stone inside herself, and her child remained in utero for 3 years. During the time that Empress Jingu is said to have ruled, Western Japan was a matriarchal society referred to as the Queen Country by Chinese and Korean records. Whether or not she existed, Jingu's son was later deified as Hachiman, the god of war. Another woman who exemplified the importance of honor and dignity in Japanese culture was a woman named Masako Hojo. Her husband was a man named Yoritomo who led a successful coup against the government of the time. He became the 4th ever shogun of Japan. Yoritomo and Masako had a turbulent relationship, to say the least. After Masako had jilted her first fiancé to marry Yoritomo, he cheated on her with a woman named Lady Kame. In order to defend her tarnished honor, Masako raised an army to go and flatten Kame's house. Kame escaped, but what had occurred was actually a common practice called uwanari uchi, or the strike of the afterwife. A wife lost her honor when her husband strayed, and Masako was more than willing to defend her honor. Many years after that incident, Yoritomo died after falling from his horse. Masako became a Buddhist nun after that, and her son assumed power. He was rather incompetent, and Masako left her temple to set him right. After an assassination attempt on her son, which she protected him from, Masako realized she was the only competent ruler left. She forced her son to give up power, and she ruled Japan, despite technically being only a Buddhist nun. She ruled until the end of her life, establishing the Hojo dynasty, which ruled for another 100 years. Tomoe Gozen was born in 1157. She was a talented samurai warrior whose heroic actions in the Genpei War were immortalized in the Heike Monogatari. She was raised in a samurai family and became an excellent warrior. She was revered for her beauty and skill as an archer and a swordswoman, referred to as the warrior worth 1,000. She was the best soldier on her side of the battle, reportedly outperforming all her male comrades. Despite her success, she was still treated with less deference than the other male soldiers. She was one of the last 5 surviving warriors fighting for her master, Lord Kiso. According to the Heike Monogatari, her lord told her, "You are a woman, so be off with you. Go wherever you please. I intend to die in battle or kill myself if I am wounded. It would be unseemly to let people say, 'Lord Kiso kept a woman with him during his last battle.'" She was understandably unhappy with being cast off and decided to seek out one final worthy opponent to demonstrate her might to Lord Kiso. She found the strongest, most revered man in the opposing side, challenged him, and cut his head off. According to the legend, she then ran off and disappeared. Tomoe is a popular historical figure and has been the subject of numerous works of fiction and non-fiction. These women are just a few powerful women in Japanese history. They were all nobility, or very skilled fighters, or both. Not every woman born into a samurai family was going to be the next Tomoe Gozen, but every girl was taught to protect herself. There were 2 primary weapons employed by samurai women, the naginata and the kaiken. A naginata is a long staff with a curved blade at the end of it. It was the woman's duty to protect her home when her husband was off protecting his lord or generally adventuring. Many a castle was defended by women wielding naginatas. A kaiken was a long dagger that would be worn sheathed at all times by women. They were to use it to defend their chastity from attack. Most samurai women were not as high profile as their male counterparts, but that did not mean they weren't able to hold their own in a fight. To abide by Bushido meant to uphold honor and cherish loyalty, and all of the women we spoke of were more than capable of doing that. Honor is not defined by gender, and a fierce martial spirit was certainly demonstrated by every woman who wielded a naginata or kaiken to defend her home.